In the seventh video of the series, Jesus goes fishing for fishermen and catches some keepers. Let's examine Mark chapter 1, verses 16 through 20. This is verse 16 from the English Standard Version of the Bible. Passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Mark tells us that Jesus was passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, which is a fairly large lake with many settlements around it, and was an important economic hub and source of food. What does Jesus see? Two men throwing a net into the sea. What does Mark tell us about those two men? First, they are brothers, named Simon and Andrew, and second, that they were fishermen. So this is not a hobby or recreation. These brothers are commercial fishermen, who earn their livelihood from catching fish in the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee contains several species of fish, but the two most commonly caught by commercial fishermen are tilapia, also known as St. Peter's fish, and sardines, which can be netted from shore. Simon and Andrew are net fishing, presumably from the shore, where Jesus can communicate with them. There is a tradition within Christianity of closely associating Mark with Simon, later called Peter. He was perhaps a relative and traveling companion, and may have served as a secretary and scribe to Peter after the events recorded in Mark's Gospel. We'll explore that relationship in future videos. Let's look at verse 17. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." We're not told if there had been any prior contact or relationship, just that Jesus looked at two commercial fishermen and made a bold statement, "Follow me." In the ancient world, there was a clearly defined model of discipleship. Disciples followed a master. A disciple's task and goal was to pattern himself after the master, to learn from that master and to reproduce the values and teachings of the master. So when Jesus says, "Follow me," it's not like saying, "Let's grab lunch together." It's much more significant. How much more? Well, look at what Jesus said next. "And I will make you become fishers of men." They are fishers of fish. It's what they do. It's how they feed themselves. It's the family business. But Jesus says, "Follow me, and I will change your vocation. I will make you into something you are not. I will make you become fishers of men." How did they respond? Look at verse 18. And immediately they left their nets and followed him. This is Mark's third use of the word immediately. At Jesus' baptism, as soon as he came out of the water immediately, the heavens were torn open, the Spirit descended, and God spoke. As soon as that was over, the Spirit immediately drove Jesus into the wilderness. And now, when called to make a career change and become disciples of Jesus, Simon and Andrew immediately left their nets and followed him. If you're keeping score, Jesus has caught two so far. Let's examine verse 19. And going on a little farther, he saw James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, who were in their boat mending the nets. In the same area nearby, Jesus sees what? Two more fishermen. What do we know about them? They are also brothers, like Simon and Andrew. Brothers who work together as fishermen. Not for fun, but to earn a living. Their names are James and John, and when Jesus sees them, they're not fishing. They're engaged in maintenance of their fishing equipment, repairing nets. What happens next? Look at verse 20. And immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants and followed him. There's the fourth use of immediately. Jesus didn't chit-chat with James and John. There's no record here of Simon and Andrew telling James and John about their decision to follow Jesus. Jesus saw them and immediately called them, presumably with the same call he gave Simon and Andrew. "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." Why presume it's the same call? Because if it were different, we would expect Mark to mention the difference. And James and John left their father with the hired servants. What does that tell us about James and John's family and the fishing business? Well, we know their father is still living and still active in the business. We know that the business is a large enough concern that there are employees involved, and not just the father and two sons. What about Simon and Andrew? There was no mention of a father or employees. Perhaps their fishing operation was smaller, and perhaps the business consisted of just the two brothers. If James and John up and leave their father to do the work alone, they might be guilty of failing to honor their father, breaking one of the commandments. But Zebedee has help, and James and John respond the same way as Simon and Andrew. They walk away from a life of fishing for fish. They follow Jesus so that he can make them become fishers of men. So when Jesus begins forming a team of disciples, why does he start with fishermen? And why with pairs of brothers? And why these two pairs of brothers in particular? Team building is always difficult. Jesus starts his team by calling two teams that already exist. Two sets of brothers. And why these two sets of brothers? We were told that James and John were just a little farther along the shore from Simon and Andrew, so it stands to reason that these sets of brothers were at least familiar with each other. They were in the same business. They surely had similar experiences and challenges. Shaping them into a team may be easier than starting with people with no common ground. Also, fishermen are used to going out after a harvest. They're different from farmers or shepherds. They don't grow or tend fish until they're ready to harvest. They go out to get them. It's probably easier to turn fishers of fish into fishers of men than it would be to turn a baker into a fisher of men. Mark's gospel continues to show a strong action bias. Jesus calls them, and with no record of hesitation, they jump into a new life of discipleship, patterning themselves after the Master, going where he goes, doing as he does, and acting to carry out his will. Jesus successfully caught 4 keepers: Simon, Andrew, James, and John. Next time, Jesus teaches at the synagogue and sets himself apart. In Mark chapter 1, verses 21 and 22. Thank you for watching So What Scripture. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends.